I'm a European in the US right now, but not for the World Cup, and it's so interesting to see other non-Americans experience the US for the first time because it's reminding me of my first time in the US and all of the things that just like blew my mind. Because I don't know if Americans know this, but because America is so centered, like American culture is so prevalent because of things like American movies and American pop culture and things like that, we like watch movies or we watch like vlogs even, and we notice little things that aren't normal in our country. So when we come to the US and we experience these things for ourselves, it blows our minds. Let me just show you one thing that you wouldn't even think, but to me this is like something very American. Having outlets in your restroom is already American, but having outlets by a water source, by your sink, is so American. In every single country I've ever lived at, if we even had an outlet in our bathroom, which was almost never, it would be like here, somewhere here, very far away from any water source. Something else that you might not think is American, but it is American, is like an open floor plan. Like when you have like your kitchen with your living room, we call that une cuisine américaine, an American kitchen. You know the sinks with like this. You know this kind of sink? This is an American sink. If you have a two-door fridge, especially if it's like aluminium, that's an American fridge. That's not a two-door fridge. It's an American fridge. Un frigo américain.
These are the three most puzzling things I find about Americans and the culture over there as a Brit. Number one, what the hell is homecoming? What the hell does homecoming mean? Okay, I watch all these films and they're always talking, let's go to are we going to homecoming together? What the hell does that mean? What the hell is homecoming? Number two is the long commutes that Americans do. Americans do. The fact that they will commute an hour to work and back. That's 2 hours out of your day, out of the 24. That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't know how y'all do it, but my salutations for you, sir, because I could never. And number three, the fact that most Americans will move home or leave home at age 18 is crazy. How do y'all have the funds for that? Let me know how you do, because I need to know that. I need to know the secret sauce. How are y'all moving out at age 18? How are y'all doing it? Y'all in the movies talking about, I'm moving out at age 18. Girl, how?
This is a culture shock.
Trick or treat! Watch me. Ready?
Has she never taken a Jello shot?
Yummy.
I can't. What? How does this work?
Take your finger around the outside. Put this down the other. Yeah, pretty good. There you go. Hi, can we get a photo?
With me. No, go with me.
So cute, thank you.
This is a culture shock. Oh my god. Hello, sexy pirate. Did you see him though? I'm low-key overwhelmed. You're gonna like it.
It's better. I'm sorry.
I prefer a normal shot.
Stuff in the windows.
Yeah, but that's alright. That's alright.
Nothing could prepare me for the culture shocks that I've had as a Brit moving from the UK to the USA. The work culture is crazy. I work in healthcare, so I used to feel like I was missing out on a lot because of the crazy hours that I worked. In the US, everyone's working the same hours as me. I went to the pharmacy and asked what time they closed. They said 9 p.m. It's kind of nice because it means that even if you're working crazy hours, you can still run your errands because everyone's also working crazy hours. They have drive-throughs for literally everything. Drive-throughs for the bank, for the pharmacy, your groceries, you name it, you can do a drive-through. They don't want to get out of their car. Groceries are insanely expensive. They really need to chill with that. I live alone and the vast majority of my paycheck be going to Trader Joe's. It's insanely expensive, especially if you're buying like whole produce. This might be dumb, but I didn't realize that the Midwest is its own thing. When I grew up, I knew about the East Coast and I knew about the West Coast, but I didn't really know about the Midwest. Obviously, I live in Chicago, which is the Midwest, and they have their own stereotypes. Like, everyone knows that people from the Midwest are super nice, and that rings true. Also have all these sports rivalries in the Midwest that I still don't quite understand, but I never truly appreciated it as its own region. As you guys know, I love living here. Those are the things that come to mind that really shocked me.
The Americans were right when they said us English can't handle the heat. I've just landed in Texas for the World Cup, and the heat is another level in America than what it is to England. Every time it's a heat wave in the UK, we post on Twitter to say how hot it is, and there's always an argument with Americans saying it's not that hot, and we always argue that it is hot, it's different heat, whatever. No, the heat here is different. The air is thick like soup, and even in the middle of the night, it's 29 degrees. Right now, it's 35, and you can barely breathe the air. Thank God Americans actually have AC.
Okay, so here's my quick first impression on living in the US. I arrived to LA exactly a week ago, and this is my experience so far. First of all, people. They have been so amazing to me. Like, they're so kind, open, generous, and just there's this really positive energy overall that I really love about the people here. Hi. The people at my new job are just so open and welcoming, and I don't think I've ever felt this welcome at a new job, and I feel so happy to be here. Whoever I meet on the streets, like whether it's an Uber driver or a cashier or just someone, like everybody's just so positive. First time I went for a walk, after 2 minutes, some teenage boy just like waved at me. It was like, "Hi, good morning," and I'm like, that literally has never happened to me in Finland, ever. And I love that. I just still need to learn to do a little bit of small talk. That doesn't really come that naturally for me. I kind of got scolded a little bit at Trader Joe's because I went to just ask for directions to the tofu shelf, and the person was kind of like, yeah, okay, just come on, like follow me, and also, good morning, how are you? And I'm like, yeah, sorry, good morning, how are you? Where's the tofu? I have like a million other things that I could share, but I'm running out of time. So if you want part 2, let me know.
Y'all know when I tell about my first culture shots when I first came to the United States. So I'm gonna tell another one. Right? This is my first culture shot. This was actually my first culture shot when I first came here, right? Besides like the buildings, like the different people, the different everything, like they talk. Like, it's a whole different language. English to me was a whole different language. Like, almost we talk like this in Nigeria. Like, here they like, how you doing, bro? It's a whole different language with the accent, right? But fuck all that. That was not my first culture shock. My first culture shock was when I first went to school, right? And I was in class, and I heard a kid say, "Shut the fuck up, you ain't gonna." I said, huh? Like, mind you, right? I've been here for a little minute, right? I'll probably say like maybe 3-4 weeks, right? And I grew up in my neighborhood. I already knew what cussing words were, because we grew up like, not really in the projects, but you know what I'm saying, we grew up damn near like, you know what I'm saying, in the area and shit, you feel me? So I knew what cussing words were, right? Profanity, because the kids are around us, they use the same words and shit, right? And you ain't supposed to say it because it's a bad word. I'm in class and I hear this, he said, "Shut the fuck," to the teacher. I said, boom, like, I'm looking like, okay, he about to, you know what I'm saying? They about to flog his ass, they about to hit his ass, right? The teacher said, I forgot to do a name, but the teacher said, step out my classroom now and press the button or something like that. Can you come get, like, they press the intercom, can you come get such and such? She says, get out my classroom, but he don't want to leave. So she pressed the button, and the principal had to come get him out of class and sit. I said, what? Like, they don't make you kneel down and raise your hand up? They don't say, let me see your hand. And, you know what I'm saying? They don't flog you? Like, they don't do none of that shit? I said, yo, what? That was my first culture shock when I first got here. I said, damn, people get away with shit out here, man. I mean, no wonder y'all don't take education serious in America, but that shit crazy.
Here are the biggest culture shocks I've found since studying in America. Number 1, everything is orientated for cars. Like, you have to have a car to survive here. I mean, I've been getting around finding my bike, but without a car, like, yeah, you're not going to be able to get to the Target. You're not going to be able to go to like the big shopping districts. You've obviously got like the local Walmart, but you have to have a car to get around everything. And everything is like suited for cars. Like, I saw a drive-through pharmacy the other day. Like, that, the concept of picking up your prescription at a pharmacy on a drive-through is just mental to me. Number two, it didn't really come as a surprise, but it was still a bit of a culture shock for me, was guns. All of like the outer doors on campus here have no guns inside signs. Like the fact that you can just, like, I've gone past like gun stores and stuff here. The fact that it is still like around me, you don't really notice it on a day-to-day basis, but just knowing that, you know, people can just be carrying a firearm it does kind of sit in the back of your mind at times. The third one, I touched on it on What Americans Get Right, that video, but the sports culture is insane. Like, there's a clash between two local high school teams here, and like the whole city is turning out for it. For high school football, that's mad to me. Like, even if two teams in the same town back home were playing against each other, you'd get like the family shop and that's it. But here, the whole city turns out for local sports, for youth sports, which I actually think is really cool. Finally, there's just so much space. Like, it links into why you need the cars that I mentioned earlier, but all of the houses are detached. I think if you took an American to the Luton away end, they would probably have a stroke. But yeah, all the houses are detached. Every house you go past is just massive. And I wish we were like that in the UK, but we just don't have the space for it.
One thing I've noticed as a Brit living in America is that Americans don't tend to swear as much as us. Obviously, I can only speak for the area that we live. We live in Kansas, and it's a really nice place to raise a family. And don't get me wrong, I'm completely here for it. I hated walking the streets in England and hearing people swear left, right and centre. My children would pick it up, and it was just not nice. And I get that it's embedded in our culture, it's embedded in our language, and it's used as terms of endearment and jokes and banter, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that children are hearing it really young. Now, here in America, we can walk the streets and you don't hear anyone swear. I've heard adults swear in conversations, but they are very careful to make sure they're not doing it in front of the children, which is really considerate, something that doesn't happen back in England, but it's just nice. Now, what they do over in America is they use substitute words like heck, darn it, gosh, things like that. And I'm not really fussed about my children picking that up. They're not offensive words, they're a substitute for swearing, but they're fine. And actually, my son did drop his book the other day and he went, darn it. He's turning American so quickly.
Americans have this incredible superpower of making you feel like you've been best friends for 10 years within exactly 5 minutes of meeting them. If you're from Europe, this completely breaks your brain. You meet someone at a networking event or a bar, you have this deep, high-energy conversation about business, life and passion projects, and you leave the interaction thinking, wow, I just made a genuine connection. But here's the culture shock. In the US, that intense friendliness isn't the start of a deep relationship. It's just a baseline for a polite, casual interaction. It's an amazing warm vibe in the moment, but it doesn't mean you're locked into each other's lives. Back home, if someone opens up to you like that, you're basically invited to their wedding. Out here, it just means you had a great Tuesday evening together. Once you stop taking the instant warmth as a lifetime commitment, it actually becomes a lot more fun to navigate. But it definitely takes some getting used to. How long did it take to you figuring out that difference? Let me know.